right. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time it is for you dolphins. Today, I am going to do a tutorial on Google Sites. I apologize for the tunneled screen. It'll go away shortly, but in Blackboard, I'm using the share screen option. That way you guys can see and kind of walk through this process with me. So just hang in there with the tunneled screen. It will go away. So since I'm talking about Google Sites, I figured I would start off by showing you guys an example. My grade level uses Google Sites almost as like a textbook for kids. So we create one per unit and it houses all of the information and the need to knows for that unit. And especially with distance learning, it's a really nice way to house all of the activities that you're going to want your students to complete. So again, I want to show an example and then I'll walk you through on how we can create one together. So this one's on triangles and quadrilaterals, which is one of my Math 7 units. And when I share the link with my kids, it takes them to this homepage. And on the homepage, I usually just give a brief overview of what the unit's going to be about. And then if they need any background knowledge, maybe from a prior grade level, I'll drop that background knowledge into the homepage for them to go to. So here's what this one looks like. And then at the top, you'll see there are 3 different pages that the kids can navigate to. Usually I use these as the learning outcomes of the unit or maybe the big ideas. You could even do one for each day, like day 1, day 2, day 3. But for this particular unit, I felt like it was best to give them by objective. So their first objective was on similar figures. So when they click on the tab at the top, I always put those I can statements. That way they have that kind of driver for their learning for this particular site page. So all of the learning outcomes are up here for similar figures. And then as they scroll through the site, I break them out by goal. So the I can statements. And then everything underneath that goal applies to that I can statement. So, here I have some vocabulary. I pull it right from the pacing guide, so it's having that consistency with the county and with VDOE. Here are a couple links to some practices so they can work on that concept. Again, any additional information they need. This is a button that's linking them to another site to get a little more information. Here I have just screenshotted the VDOE vocabulary card, and I'll show you how to do that a little bit later, but it's a nice way to kind of put in some images without having to hunt for them. And then some more practice, another goal. You can do some videos. I used Edpuzzle for this site, but you could just put in a YouTube video. Some directions like step-by-step how-tos, another VDOE vocab card. And then as they scroll down to the bottom, I usually give them a check for understanding. So you can embed a Google form right into the site so they don't have to go anywhere to take it. And it also self-grades itself or auto-grades itself. So as soon as they submit it, they will be able to see how they did, check their answers. And if there's anything they struggled with, they can go back and continue to practice within the site. So I know that was a lot, so I'm going to break it down a little bit more, and we're going to create a site together. So the first thing you'll do is you're going to go to a new tab on your Google browser. And I always go to it this way, and I'll explain why in just a second, but you want to type in new Google Sites. And there's a classic version of Google Sites, and then there's the new version, which is what I just showed you. So when you Google new Google Sites, you'll want to click not on this top one. I mean, I guess you could, but I always click on this right here where it says new sites. It might ask you to log in, and then it'll take you to your new Google Sites homepage. So I would bookmark this so you can go back and you can easily get to all of the sites that you've created. And then to create a new site, you'll see this plus button down here in the bottom corner, and you click on that, and it'll take a second to load up. And now we have a blank site to work from. So I'm going to pick a topic that I'm working on with my kids next, just so I have a reference for myself. But this would be obviously whatever you're working on for that unit. And for my kids, it's going to be probability. So this right here is the page title, but it's not the site title. So you'll see this is what my whole my home page is going to be called, but I still don't have a site name. So up here in the top left corner where I have it highlighted, I try to get really specific. So this would be Math 7 probability. That way I can separate it out from anything else. And then once you click back down here, you'll see it also titled the site and gave it its name. And that's how you'll find it back in the kind of that home page where you had all your other Google sites. So from here, you can spend a little time getting creative with your backgrounds, with themes. So if you navigate over here to your sidebar, you have insert, pages, and then themes. And if you click on themes, that's where you can choose what it's going to look like. So they have a few different pre-built ones. You can click on them. You can change the color schemes. Maybe you want it to be yellow or blue. And then you can even change the font from here too and make it a completely different font. You can also change the header image. So like since this is math and we're talking about probability, I probably don't want a picture of the world or a map. So you'll just kind of come right underneath and this little bar will pop up and you'll hit change image. And you can either upload one from your computer or you can select one of their pre-images. You could even search the internet for an image if you wanted to. I'm just going to pick something basic. We'll go with this. And now it's been applied. So this will be my theme. There we go. So this will be my theme for my whole site. Again, you can spend a lot of time kind of playing around with this, but I'm going to go ahead and move forward. To add pages, so this is your home page here. But if you want to break it out by learning outcome or standard, you'll want to come over here to where it says pages right next to themes. And down here, you'll have a plus button. So you can just hit new page and then you can title it. So my first page will be probability, simple probability. There we go. And then you can also change how this page looks. Sometimes I like to just make it a title only. That way it makes it a little bit cleaner. So my home page has that banner with the red, and then my individual pages are a little more simple. It's whatever your preference is while you're creating these sites. Sorry if you hear my dog woofing in the background. And then from here, you can build out your content. So the simplest way to add content is to just double click on anywhere on the screen and it'll bring up this wheel. And this is kind of a shortcut to add text, to add a video, to upload something, or even to insert something from your drive. I usually just use this to add text. So here a text bar will pop up. And you can choose what you want it to look like. It could be, maybe you want it to be large, like a heading, and maybe you want it to be a little bit smaller, whatever your format style is. In this minute, we will, yada, yada, yada. And then you can add in descriptor statements or definitions or whatever you're trying to input. And then when you click away, you'll see it kind of has created this section for it. I don't know if it's easy to see on your screen, but it has these little dotted lines here. And that's a section that you've created. If I double click again, it's going to create another section, and it'll kind of space them out when the kids see it. Let's say we don't want this section. When you highlight over it, you'll see there's a little trash can here, and you can just delete it. The other nice thing is you can really play with the formatting. I can readjust the size of this. So you see it creates these grid line bars, which makes it really nice for spacing purposes. But you can make it smaller, you can make it really thin, and you can also stack things on top of each other. And I'll show you how to do that in a minute. So from here, if I wanted to add more content, let's say I wanted to add a picture next to my descriptor statement or my I can statements, you can do two things. You can double click again, and then you'll get the wheel to come up. Or you can come over here where you had themes pages and you'll go to insert, and you can insert something from your drive. You could choose a layout that's pre-made. These are really handy if you want it to just look really uniform and you don't want to worry about the spacing yourself. So you could drop in a layout for this particular page. Or you have a whole bunch of options down here. You could add in a table of contents, a button, a divider, and I'll show you how to do a couple of those. But let's go a little more basic. Let's just add in an image. So again, you can double click right here and go to images. And I don't have one. So I'm just gonna hit Google image search and we'll see what they've got for probability. Oh, great, coin flipping. And then, so I clicked on the one I want and then I hit insert and it will drop the picture in right to it. You can play with the formatting again, with the grid lines if you want to, or I could even drag this image right underneath my text box and it will lock them together, which is really nice too. And then they'll move together as a unit. So if I made this larger, it would make the whole thing larger. So you just have to be careful with formatting on that one. You can lock them together or they could be side by side, and you really just click and drag, which is really nice about Google Sites is it's super friendly to click and drag with your mouse. Okay, so that's adding an image. And let's say I'm done with this little section, so I want to move on. I'll double click down here to create a new section, and we'll call this one a YouTube video. So now let's insert a YouTube video. All right, so you can do it two ways. So you can come over here. Oh, sorry, there goes the dog. Clearly see something. You can come over here and you can hit YouTube and a window will pop up. And if you already have the link, you can just go and grab it from your address bar. I'm gonna have to deal with them in a second, hold on. And then you can paste it here and search for it. Click and select, and it will drop it into your Google site. Just like I did with the picture, you can drag it anywhere. So I can drag it under this. Maybe I want it to be inside of this section. Maybe I want it to be right underneath where I said YouTube video. Oops, I dragged everything. Gotta be careful of that sometimes. There we go. Wherever you want it to be. You could also make it really large if you want it to take up more of the screen, which makes it a little bit easier for the kids to see. So especially if you're thinking about accessibility and it has like words or like directions written into the video, you might want to make it a little bit larger for your kids to be able to see it. And the really nice thing about this is when they go to the Google site and they click play, it will play right within their site window. And then from here, after I talk about what our learning statements are, maybe I show them a definition or a picture, an example, give that YouTube video. You could even put in a video of yourself teaching here with the distance learning. So we all have YouTube accounts with our FCPS schools.net email. So you can upload your Blackboard recordings into YouTube and you can use them this way and insert yourself right into your Google site if you want to. And if you guys want to know more about that, just shoot me an email and I can work with you on how to do it. So from here, let's play with some of these down here. So collapsible text, table of contents, and image carousel. I don't really use these very often, but if you're interested in what they look like, just let me know and I can work with you on those. But button is one of my most used ones. So a button is like a clickable link, and I usually use this for games. So let's put one in. You just click on button and then we'll name it. So this will be Khan Academy Practice. Simple probability. And then you'll go and grab the link to the game that you want it to be linked to. and paste that here. And now you have this button, and it's really small at first, but you can drag it to make it larger. And then when the kids see the button, they click on it, and then it will open up this new window over here. If you want to kind of break up your sections a little bit more and make it a little more visually appealing, so it's not just one big white page, there's a couple things you can do. You can add in a divider. So if you click on divider, it'll drop this bar in here, and you can drag it to wherever you want to divide that content. So maybe you want to put a divider between your definitions. Maybe you want to put a divider between each of your sections, and that's fine too. The other way you can break up your sections a little bit is if you come over here and you hover over your section, you'll see you have a paint palette, a duplicate section button, and a trash can. So if you click on that paint palette, it'll actually let you change the background color of just that section, which is really nice if you're trying to have something stand out a little bit more. And then it's not such a white blank page for them. Whatever you have chosen your theme color to be is what color these sections will be. So back in the theme, I chose black, but if I had chosen blue or green, it would make these sections that color. Lots of customized options here. All right, so from here, if you want to add in a Google form to do that check for understanding. So I always double click and add my text. And then right underneath that, you can do two things. So I can double click and I can use thumb drive button down here, or I can come over here to my insert and there's actually one for forms. So let's try that. I'll do forms. And then I think I have one. Okay, these are all the other units. So if you already have the form created and you know what it's called, you can hit the magnifying glass here, and then you just type in whatever the title of the form is. And, oh, here's probability of vocabulary, perfect. So we'll insert that. And now it's embedded right into the site itself. So when the kids go to see this, they won't have to open up a new window. They'll be able to answer and respond to the form right inside of the Google site. Really nice. So it'll be right there, right underneath. Again, I like to highlight certain parts. So maybe this check for understanding, I want to emphasize it so kids know that it's here. So what is this looking like? How do you know how you're doing? So every so often while I'm creating the site, I will come up here to my top toolbar and I'll click on this computer and little phone and I will preview. And that just lets me see kind of how am I doing so far? What is this going to look like when they go to open up the site page? So again, I've got that video nice and big. It's taking up a good amount of the screen, so they'll be able to see it. Might want to make my button stand out a little bit more here because it's green on green, but we'll worry about that another time. And then I have that, that Google form right inside, which is really nice for them to just be able to go in and click and respond within the Google site itself. Okay, so let's say I like it, it's good, and I want to exit my preview. Down here, you can also preview what it looks like on a phone or on a tablet or on a computer, but you'll hit the exit preview button. That's fine. And then it'll take you right back to the editor page. And you can keep going and you can keep working on it. Let's say you want to work with your team. I highly recommend you work with your team. These are a lot to build by yourself. Up here next to you, you'll see a little person with share with others, and you just click on that and you can add in one of your team members' names, and just make sure that when you share it with them that they have the pencil icon, and that lets them work and edit the site with you. All right, from here. So I'm happy with my site. Now I want my kids to see it. So the first thing you have to do is you have to publish the site. If you don't publish the site, they can't see it. So you'll publish the site, and you actually get to pick the name of. So you'll see the site down here. It'll be sites.google.com/whatever, but you'll get to pick that name at the end of the site name. So I usually make it exactly what I've named my site, which would be Math 7 probability. In this case, I'm naming it a test because I'm not. I already have one that I'm working on for this unit. And then you'll hit publish. And this allows them to see the site if it's published, now that it's published. The other thing to keep in mind is, let's say I go back in here and I remove this button and I want to fix it and make it something different. My kids are still going to see that button because I haven't published it again. So each time you make changes, it'll save on your screen. But as far as the published link will only update if you republish it. And it'll show you the difference between your current draft and then what's currently published. And if you're happy with the changes, then you go ahead and hit publish. And you can save it. And then from here, now you want to share it with your kids. So I don't want you to grab this link up here. This is your link in the address bar. So to share it with your kids, you're going to click on this chain link icon right here that says copy publish site link. And then you'll copy this link to share with your kids. And you'll notice that it's a little bit different than what you see. Again, it's whatever you chose that end name to be. The other little nuance, I guess, is when I copy the published site link, it's actually copying the link for this page in particular. So if I open up a new bar and I go to that link, it's not going to take me to the home page. It's going to take me to this page. So when I'm publishing this on my Google Classroom, I want to make sure that when I'm taking that published site link, that I'm on the home page. And then I copy this link for them. And then when they click on that link, it'll open up the home page for that particular unit. And I think that's about it. If I didn't cover something or if I went too fast over something, please feel free to email me. My team makes sites a lot. Like I said, really collaborate on them as well because it's a lot of work to do by yourself. So I recommend getting your team involved and sharing this video if it was helpful for you. And again, if there's something that maybe I didn't cover thoroughly enough for you or something that you want to try that I didn't talk about, just shoot me an email and we can chat about it and I can help you through it. But good luck making your Google Sites.